How is everyone doing today? I was pressing the go live button and it just wouldn't go live for a second there, but here we are. Who have we got in the chat today? Jason survived the hurricane. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear you're well. Lenny's here. Philip's here. Alinta. Donna, good morning. How are we all feeling? This price action on Bitcoin has been crazy, but I got some things to share with you today, which I want to go through. It is the end of month coming up over the next couple of days. There is a few things I want to point out that I think is going on that is why, well, the answer to what is happening with the price action. Let's just zoom out a little bit and have a look at Bitcoin. If we have a look over the whole week, we certainly have not at this point had a typical week. The daily patterns have been delicious to trade, but the weekly pattern has definitely not been typical. So we're going to talk about that today, about why I think that has happened this week. There's been two cases where we have had major liquidity above and below the peaks of where price has gone this week, and the market makers didn't come for it. And I want to discuss today why I think that is, which will lead us into what I believe has a high probability of happening by the end of this week into next week. So if you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. This is the channel where we don't build biases and we don't make big long-term calls. We just trade what we see in the moment and aim to make short-term profits and build our bags. So if you like that kind of stuff, be sure to hit that like button. Do it while we're live so that this video can get around to more people. Smash that subscribe and turn the bell notification to all so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. I see a question there. Is there a reason we're not seeing the market maker fundamentals like the rise, drop 1, 2, and 3? Yes, I believe there is, and that is exactly what we're going to talk about today. So just to explain what that question actually means here, well, in some cases we have seen 3-level rises and drops, but in particular case of what you're talking about, yesterday we didn't. So we definitely got this one drop here out of the news events yesterday. We got this drop here, we got our retrace right here, and then we got a second drop, which would lead us to believe that a third drop should come. However, I didn't get that. The market maker then came and pushed price through that 50 EMA, gave us a beautiful retest of it, and then started to give us an uptrend in the other direction. So why is that happening? And I want to talk about two things. So our low of the week currently is at around, at around 18, let's just say 18,450, and our high of the week, the current week, is at around 2380. Now, when we have a look at the high block liquidity, we can see here that this high level up here is at 20,500. So about $100 off the highest level the price has gone this week. And the lowest is at 18K, so about $400 off that. So why is the market maker pushing price up and down between this range, but not actually taking out that liquidity either side of price? I think I've worked it out. And before I show you what I think it is, let's have a look at the daily time frame for Bitcoin, because I want to show you a little bit of a pattern that is tending to happen towards the end of every monthly close on the daily time frame. So you can see here, this was the last one in August, so end of August, and market maker just held price in a very tight range on a higher time frame, where, for people who trade higher time frames, this would have been a consolidating period, wait it out, do nothing kind of thing. Same thing up here. Oh, sorry, the other thing too, no, sorry, that was a range. Over here, very, very large wicks on the daily. So this one was the end of July, but just held it sideways in a range till the last few days of the month. This one here, large wicks again. We had wick here to the upside, this one to the downside, but we held in a range for the last few days of the month. And when you zoom out and take a big look at everything, sorry, you can see that ever since the middle of June, we have just been in a higher time frame range. Now, in addition to that, we do still have a potential for this daily W to be a daily W at this point in time, because we have not broken below these wicks here that started the first peak, and at this point in time we've not broken 18427 on a candle close yet. So this very much could be the second peak of the W. I'm not saying it is, because I actually I feel more that it's going to break down than up. But you know me, I trade what I see. I don't really build a bias. But the point being that why on these last few days of the month do we hold in a sideways range that is highly volatile? And that led me to then have a look at what's going on this week. So if we jump down to the 1 hour time frame, being the last few days of September, we can see that we've not had a typical week. A typical week should have a W or an M formation somewhere towards the start of the week, 3-level rise or drop, an M formation towards midweek for the reversal, 3-level rise or drop, whichever way the trend goes. However, this week we haven't had that. So we had an early week peak, we had a reversal with only 2 drops, we had a W formation, and now we're moving up again. So why would that be that we're not running a typical week this week? And my feeling is that it has a lot to do with the options expiring. And I just wanted to show you this because we do have options expiring today, which I don't think are the main concern. For Bitcoin, we can see here that the total notional value of the ones that are expiring today are 20.8 million. That's not such a big deal. We got to get you and Tina on a collab. It is in the works, my friend. It is in the works. So we've got this notional 20.8 million. But if we change this to the 30th of September, which is tomorrow, which is Friday, end of week, look at that notional value now. The total is 2 billion. So the calls here is 1.2 billion and the puts is 797. Now, the way this kind of works is that we look at the max pain price. And so for tomorrow, it's 22,000. So what that means is that, oh, so sorry. What that means is that if Bitcoin closes around about $1,000 either side of this max pain price at the options expiry tomorrow, which is Melbourne 6 p.m., which is around about the UK session open. So if Bitcoin closes around $1,000 either side of this price, it's going to cause the max pain for both the calls and the puts. And so when you cause the max pain for both sides, who wins? The market maker wins, right? So therefore, that's what we want to kind of look for. If price closes around about $1,000 either side of this 22K by UK session open tomorrow, when the options expire, the market maker is going to collect $2 billion. So when we have a look at today being the max pain is 19,000. So I don't think they're going to care too much about today's because there's not that many people to hurt. But I think tomorrow is definitely key, and it could be why we have this little uptrend happening currently. We may hold somewhere around the 19K today, who knows, or we may come up for that next rise to get us closer to the 22 or you say 21-ish before tomorrow. Now, the other thing too then is coming back to this, it kind of adds up now. When I said to you earlier, why did they come $100 close to this and not take it? Why did they come $400 close to this and not take it? The reason is because any time price goes sideways, the market maker is accumulating. right? So the reason they didn't come for this because they don't want it yet. The reason they didn't come for this because they don't want it yet. Why? Because in this entire 4-hour range for the last 10 days, they have been building their contracts for this move. So I feel the move is going to be big. Now, not necessarily on the expiry, potentially after into the new contracts. We have to wait and see on that, but I would be prepared for anything. Now, the thing is, this doesn't tell us which way, because when we look above price, we do have high liquidity. If they wanted to take this out first and continue up, we do still have another range at 23.7. But if they wanted to take this out and continue down, they have a lot. They have a lot to take down here till around 15K. Now, I know you guys on here hate it when I talk about astrology. If you're in my Patreon, you get it. But if you are only watching me on YouTube, you hate when I bring it up. But I'm going to bring it up because it's so relevant. The astrology over the next 10 days is extremely bearish. So when you when you think about that, and then you see all of this, let me just zoom into this area to make it clear. When you see all these levels here, we're basically looking for the greenish, yellowish levels that show us this. You can see here that this gives you an idea that the more it goes towards the green yellow, the more liquidity there is there. And if you were to sit there and actually add up every level all the way down, there's a lot available. So it would not surprise me if, we are heading up to today into tomorrow to get closer to those options expiry, and then have a very, very big move after they actually expire, after the final damage is done. So what does that mean if all of that actually happens for today's price action? I think if it's going to happen the way that I kind of hope it will happen, it should mean that we just continue to slowly trend up, potentially come back to, what is this level? This must be the high of last week, is it? Yeah, I think this is the high of last week at around 20. What is this level? 20,100. And potentially back up into this zone that we didn't get the first time. That's definitely going to cause the max pain. So look, as long as we're above the 50 EMA, if you're already long, there's no reason to close those longs. We could really even come back and test the 200 here. This area last night was the area of interest to break, which we came into once, rejected, gave us that 50 EMA, and then we did break through it. So that's now irrelevant. That's gone. Let's have a look at where we've got 1 minute to go, but let's have a look at where we may be holding price for the Asia session today. We'll have a look at that in the heat maps. And see here, we don't really have anything large at this point in time. Of course, need to wait for Asia to open. But we don't have anything significantly large holding price down until this 1.9K at 19.9. So that could be today's initial high of the day, somewhere around there. But we'll mark out, we'll mark out this whole zone from 19.8 to 20,000. That kind of makes sense. Actually, I'm going to have a look at those other charts in a second too. So let's just put this in here as the sell orders for 19.8 to 20,000. That kind of makes sense. We've wicked up there once, so we want to see if that holds as today's initial high of the day, meaning that's our high during Asia. And then, of course, when UK opens, potentially US even, the goal would be to break through that if we are to continue higher. And then let's have a look at what's below price. So we've got some fairly decent buys below price. I don't really have a significant area. 19,000-ish is kind of what they want to hold above, but we've got all these buys within the current candle, which is really rather bullish, very short-term bullish, I should say. So I don't really have a zone actually to mark out. So I'll leave that one because at the end of the day, it's just looking bullish right now. It just really does look like continuation from here. Maybe the initial low of the day is already in. We have to wait and see. If it's not already in, it might hold at around that 19K kind of region. So I'll just put around 19K in, just so we have something visually to look at. And then we put 19,000 to 19,1. All right, so this is visually what we have to look. Now, if that were to happen, still all great. We're above the point of control. It's just going to be a recovery of these vectors. It's still going to create a higher low. Everything would be fine if it did come down that low. But, you know, I must say that there are buy orders all the way up here. So definitely probably won't. I would say if you want to be long, you should have already been long. I don't think I would be trying to get longs today. Like, you're too late. We now just have to wait to see where that high is going to come in and potentially look for, you know, maybe a reversal after tomorrow or the tomorrow fake move even. So that's kind of what I have to say about that. Was there anything else? Yes, I want to now also talk about Ethereum, because we have the same situation on Ethereum, where if we again have a look at these options that are expiring, today the max pain is at 1,300 and ETH is at 1340 currently. What do you know? So we're kind of hanging around that, but the notional value is very insignificant, 19.56 million. But then if we go to tomorrow, it's 1.88 billion. So we know that, you know, the market generally moves together. The max pain is 1,500. So let's say somewhere around 1,400-ish to maybe 1,600-ish would cause max pain both sides and market maker wins. So if that were to happen, she is collecting 1.88 billion in Ethereum, but then also 2 billion in Bitcoin. That's a lot of money to collect, and why I think that we are, you know, for the last 10 days in a higher time frame range. However, let's have a look at Ethereum on the daily, because I really kind of, you know, whilst I understand that the astrology is bearish, Ethereum on the daily is just giving a much clearer trend than Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin's trend is fairly obvious. Since its all-time high, we have remained under this channel the entire time. We have come into it and touched the top side of it twice, but on this one here, we didn't. We only touched the bottom side of it, which is not great. However, what we potentially have going on here is two things. If this here was the W formation and this is the rise out of it and this is the retest, the W retest is at 1240, and that is exactly where these candles have closed currently. So, you know, I understand we're in a bear market. I understand that the economy is atrocious and everything like that, but you have to trade what you see. And the fact of the matter is that currently 1240 is holding as a W retest. So the thing is if we're to believe there's going to be more downside in Ethereum, which 100% there could be, I want to be very clear that I'm not bullish right now. I'm just building cases both sides. If we're to believe there's going to be more downside in Ethereum, we have to break that 1240, and then the next point from there to break that 1240 is going to be to break below the first peak of the W. That's when we're going to expect another drop, and that is going to be the weekly time frame level 3 drop. So really, like, if we're looking long term, it's very possible that there's more downside to come, but if we hold 1240, it could be that this is the W, rise 1, retest, and we actually push out and break this trend line eventually. It's wishful thinking at this point in the market, but it's there, so we have to talk about it. So yeah, that's pretty much all I think I really have to say is let's watch those levels. Let's see how we go, and if that's why we've been having this whole accumulation in the last few days, being the end of month. And then I think the UK session open is, yeah, definitely going to be one you want to trade tomorrow once those expiries sort of cancel. But if you're in a long position, you know, as long as you're remaining above your EMAs and you're creating higher lows, I don't feel a reason to exit it at this point in time. That's all I have for you. If you enjoyed this, be sure to smash that like button. Come and join us in the Discord. The links are in the description down below. And don't forget, if you are looking for an exchange to trade on, OKX is my preferred exchange. You get 15% discount off trading fees if you use the link in the description down below. And we do have some things that we are launching with OKX hopefully next week that are going to be super exciting. So be sure to grab that link so you can be part of it. Love you guys. Have an amazing weekend. This is my last update for the week. So get in the Discord if you want that information. If anything comes up that is urgent, we definitely let you know in there. I will see you guys next week. Have an amazing weekend.